King Charles III's coronation took an unexpected turn when young Charlotte dropped a surprising bombshell that no one saw coming. As if that wasn't enough drama, Queen Camilla had a tense exchange with Catherine, the Princess of Wales. While everyone watching was stunned, it was Charlotte's calm yet bold reaction that completely stole the spotlight and changed the story for the royal family. One thing was certain: for someone, it was the end of the road, and the fallout was only just beginning. The coronation blended centuries-old tradition with a modern flair, creating a scene straight out of a storybook. Held in the iconic Westminster Abbey, it marked a historic moment as Charles finally became king after decades of waiting. Important figures from around the globe gathered under the Abbey's towering arches, showing just how significant the monarchy still is on the world stage. Golden crowns and robes shimmered under the candlelight, while the Abbey was filled with the sound of powerful hymns. Outside, the streets of London were packed with excited crowds, their cheers echoing even inside the Abbey. The royal procession was a dazzling display, with Prince William and Princess Catherine leading the way, joined by their three children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. The young royals each had their moments to shine. George took on a special role as one of the king's pages of honor. Charlotte wowed everyone with her quiet elegance, and even little Louis managed to stay, mostly, composed during the serious occasion. But not everything was as perfect as it seemed. The royal family has faced plenty of tension recently, and the coronation only brought those issues closer to the surface. Camilla, now officially queen consort, played a major role in the ceremony, but not everyone in the royal household was thrilled about her new position. From the very beginning, her interactions with Catherine seemed tense. Insiders hinted at a shift in power since Camilla's rise, leaving Catherine in a delicate position. Once seen as the family's future matriarch, Catherine now had to carefully balance her role alongside the newly crowned queen consort. The interaction between Camilla and Catherine during the ceremony gave away some underlying tension. A few sharp glances and brief exchanges hinted at unresolved issues, and no amount of royal glamour could completely hide it. The friction was hard to ignore, especially during one particular moment as the royal family headed to their seats near the throne. Observers couldn't help but notice the subtle but very telling distance between Camilla and Catherine, a physical gap that seemed to mirror an emotional one. Adding another layer of intrigue to the day was Princess Charlotte. Though most eyes were on King Charles, Charlotte's poised presence still stood out. But her day was about to take a surprising turn. What happened next revealed a side of her no one expected and left a lasting mark on this historic occasion. As the ceremony reached a solemn point, with King Charles seated on the throne, all eyes were on the royal family. But amidst the grandeur, a little ripple of drama stirred. Lip readers and eagle-eyed watchers caught Camilla turning toward Catherine and allegedly saying, "Take her," with a subtle gesture toward Princess Charlotte. Charlotte had turned slightly in her seat to glance behind her, and Camilla's quick reprimand seemed like a small moment, just a minor correction during a high-stakes event. But for those familiar with royal dynamics, it said a lot more. Camilla's tone and body language suggested this wasn't just about keeping up appearances. It seemed like another chapter in a quiet power struggle playing out under Westminster Abbey's vaulted ceilings. Catherine's response was cool and composed. The Princess of Wales nodded slightly to acknowledge Camilla's words, then calmly redirected Charlotte's attention. While Catherine handled the situation with grace, those nearby noticed a flicker of tension in her eyes, a subtle but unmistakable sign of strain. This wasn't the first time the relationship between Camilla and Catherine had raised eyebrows. Over the years, rumors of subtle power plays and differing priorities have swirled around them. Camilla, as King Charles's second wife, has had her fair share of challenges integrating into the royal family. While she has gradually gained public acceptance, her dynamics with senior royals, particularly Catherine, have often been the subject of quiet speculation. Catherine has always been a fascinating figure in royal circles, and one particular moment from Queen Elizabeth II's funeral added to the intrigue. It happened when Camilla reportedly scolded Catherine over Charlotte's behavior. The young princess had let out a small cry after a playful pinch from her brother, Prince George. Lip readers claimed Camilla sternly told Catherine to take her, much like during the coronation. These brief moments painted a picture of a step-grandmother asserting her authority in a way that may not have been warmly received. At the coronation, it wasn't just the words exchanged that caught people's attention. It was the body language. Camilla, dressed in her regal robes, looked confident and commanding, her gestures leaving little room for misunderstanding. Catherine, on the other hand, stayed calm and restrained, though the tension between them was palpable. Inside the abbey, those seated nearby immediately picked up on the shift in atmosphere. A hush fell over the room as if everyone could feel the significance of what had just happened. Even Prince William, sitting next to Catherine, seemed momentarily distracted. His eyes darted toward his wife and daughter, and though his royal composure didn't falter, his posture hinted at the tension he felt. The ripple effect of Camilla's scolding lingered. Charlotte, aware of the charged moment, appeared unusually serious. Catherine's gentle attempts to reassure her daughter didn't go unnoticed, but the interaction left a lingering question. Was this an isolated misstep or part of a larger, ongoing tension within the royal family? The coronation's grandeur remained intact, but this incident left a mark. It seemed to set the stage for what would become the defining moment of the day. Charlotte delivering a royal bombshell no one, not even Camilla, could have seen coming. As the world watched, the young princess proved that even the smallest voices in the royal family could have a lasting impact on its legacy. Charlotte's reaction in the aftermath of Camilla's reprimand was extraordinary. Observers couldn't help but notice her calm composure. Instead of retreating into herself or showing distress, Charlotte turned to her mother with a look of quiet determination. A subtle yet powerful response that shifted the focus entirely. Charlotte sat up straighter in her seat, her gaze steady and focused as the ceremony went on. Quietly, she adjusted her posture and then locked eyes with Camilla. It was a small gesture, but there was an intensity to her expression that carried weight beyond her years. Lip readers later speculated that she leaned toward her mother and whispered, "It's fine, Mommy." But Charlotte wasn't done making her presence felt. During a key moment in the ceremony, as the family prepared to rise for a ceremonial bow to King Charles, Charlotte paused deliberately. She turned to her mother and spoke softly but clearly. Lip readers caught the words, "I'll do it, but not for her." She stood gracefully, performed the bow to her grandfather, but made it unmistakably clear she was skipping any acknowledgement of Camilla. That single act sent ripples through the abbey. What might have been brushed off as a child's hesitation was instead seen as a calculated move, especially considering the earlier tension. Suddenly, Charlotte's quiet defiance became the focus of the day, overshadowing even King Charles's grand ascension. A senior diplomat at the event later described it as the quietest yet loudest statement I've ever witnessed. A royal historian added, "For an 8-year-old to act with such precision and awareness, it was extraordinary. She knew exactly what she was doing, and so did everyone else." Charlotte's poised yet bold move became the talk of the day. While subtle, the message behind her actions couldn't have been clearer. In a family that prides itself on sticking to tradition and protocol, Charlotte's deviation was a standout moment, and it resonated far beyond the abbey's walls. The reactions from the royal family were as telling as Charlotte's actions themselves. Catherine placed a gentle, reassuring hand on her daughter's shoulder, signaling quiet approval and support. William, momentarily caught off guard, quickly returned to his usual composed expression. Insiders later shared that William had described Charlotte as her mother's daughter. Camilla, however, seemed visibly rattled. As Charlotte refrained from bowing to her, the queen consort's self-assured demeanor wavered. She glanced at Catherine, perhaps hoping for intervention, but none came. Instead, Camilla was left to process the moment in silence, her smile tightening as she turned away. One guest, a close family friend of the Wales family, summed it up perfectly. That was a glimpse of the future. A young girl who already understands her role and isn't afraid to assert herself. Another noted how much Charlotte's quiet confidence reminded them of her grandmother, Princess Diana. Journalists covering the coronation were just as captivated. Charlotte had managed to shift the spotlight entirely, proving that even the youngest members of the royal family can leave an unforgettable mark. Charlotte didn't just react to the moment, she owned it. "Even the youngest royals have a voice," wrote one royal correspondent, summing up the power of her bold gesture. It wasn't long before footage of the moment spread like wildfire, with commentators breaking down every detail of Charlotte's actions. Some saw her response as a direct reflection of her upbringing. William and Catherine have always encouraged their kids to think for themselves and act with integrity. Others believed Charlotte's defiance hinted at a deeper understanding of her family's complicated dynamics. For an 8-year-old, Charlotte's move was extraordinary. She managed to shift the focus of the day, setting a precedent for her future within the monarchy. In a family where tradition often takes priority over personal expression, Charlotte stood out as someone willing to challenge the status quo, a trait that could very well shape her path as a royal. The contrast between her calm assertiveness and the tension earlier in the ceremony was striking. What could have been a day overshadowed by conflict instead became a showcase of Charlotte's emerging strength. Her actions hinted at a potential to redefine what it means to be royal in a modern world. While her brother, Prince George, is destined to be king, Charlotte's position as the second-born carries its own unique significance. Her ability to handle complex family dynamics with grace suggests she's carving out a role that balances respect for tradition with individuality. After the ceremony, discussions about the future of the monarchy inevitably included Charlotte. Her actions proved that leadership comes in many forms, and even the youngest family members can have a profound influence. Charlotte's unique position as the second child of William and Catherine, often called the spare, comes with its own challenges. Historically, spares have struggled to find their place in the royal hierarchy, often living in the shadow of the heir. But Charlotte is already showing signs of carving her own distinct path. Her quiet defiance at the coronation wasn't just a personal response. It revealed a growing awareness of her place within the royal family. Acting assertively while under the watchful eye of the world is no small feat, and it's clear her parents have instilled her with both confidence and a strong sense of self. Catherine has played a big role in helping Charlotte grow into a self-assured young girl. Their bond is warm and close, with Catherine encouraging her kids to express themselves and build confidence, even in the royal spotlight. But Charlotte's relationship with Camilla feels less defined. They've shared polite moments in public, like during King Charles's 70th birthday celebrations, but their connection doesn't quite have the cozy, familiar vibe you'd expect between a grandparent and grandchild. This distance, shaped by the family's complicated history and Camilla's later arrival into the fold, likely influenced some of the dynamics on display during the coronation. As the Princess of Wales and future Queen Consort, Catherine is one of the most visible figures in the royal family. Her ability to juggle royal traditions with her role as a hands-on mother has made her incredibly popular with the public. Her parenting style stands out because it often challenges royal norms. Catherine values emotional connection and open communication, encouraging her children to speak up and be themselves, even within the strict confines of royal life. This approach was on full display during the coronation. When Camilla reprimanded Charlotte, Catherine managed to subtly reassure her daughter without undermining her. She stayed composed, navigating a tricky situation with grace. By balancing respect for Camilla's position as queen consort while standing by her daughter, Catherine ensured Charlotte's confidence wasn't shaken. Catherine's ability to walk the fine line between royal protocol and being a supportive parent has become one of her defining qualities. But her position within the royal family has its own challenges, especially when it comes to her proximity to both Camilla and King Charles. As William's wife, Catherine represents the monarchy's future, a role that some insiders say has occasionally led to tension with Camila. Camilla's journey to becoming queen consort hasn't been easy. Once a divisive figure, she's worked hard to earn the public's respect and find her place within the royal family. Her marriage to Charles was a turning point, but her rise to queen consort hasn't been without challenges, particularly in building relationships with senior royals like Catherine. During the coronation, these dynamics were on full display. Catherine's calm resilience seemed to stand in contrast to Camilla's more assertive demeanor. Camilla's interactions with Catherine often feel like part of a broader effort to assert her authority. But while their styles and roles may differ, the coronation highlighted just how complicated the royal family's relationships can be. The coronation incident can be seen as an extension of the delicate dynamics within the royal family. While some viewed Camilla's actions as an attempt to uphold decorum during a high-pressure moment, Others saw them as overstepping, particularly in light of Catherine's well-established role as a hands-on mother and future queen. Camilla's relationship with Charlotte further highlights the complexities of her position. As a step-grandmother, Camila hasn't been as closely involved in raising the Wales children as their biological grandparents. This distance, along with the family's deep reverence for Princess Diana's memory, has likely set boundaries in her interactions with George, Charlotte, and Louis. The historical tensions that existed among the royal family must be examined in order to have an understanding of the coronation incident, especially with regard to the ties that exist between Charles, Camilla, and William's family. The legacy of Princess Diana continues to cast a long shadow. The fact that William and Catherine have made it a point to ensure that their children have a lasting recollection of Diana has unavoidably influenced the way in which they interact with Camilla, who plays a position that many people continue to consider to be contentious. This is further complicated by the efforts of the monarchy to modernize. It is commonly believed that the younger generation, which includes William, Catherine, and their children, is the future of the monarchy and the fundamental factor in ensuring that it will continue to be relevant. This emphasis on modernization, on the other hand, occasionally comes into conflict with the more conventional practices that Charles and Camilla advocate for, which results in the manifestation of minor yet persistent rifts within the family. As a result of the coronation episode, these more general dynamics were brought into play. A separate aspect of the delicate balancing act that the family must do is depicted by each of the following: Camilla's assertion of authority, Catherine's controlled answer, and Charlotte's silent resistance. This event marked a turning point for Charlotte, as it marked the beginning of her emergence as a young princess who was not afraid to express herself, even in the face of rigorous convention. In Catherine's opinion, this was a demonstration of her capacity to safeguard the confidence of her children while simultaneously preserving her position within the organization. For Camilla, it brought to light the difficulties associated with establishing one's authority within a family, in which the dynamics of the relationships are shaped not just by the present, but also by the past. At the end of the day, the dynamics that exist between Charlotte, Catherine, and Camilla extend beyond their personal connections. In the process of adapting to a world that is constantly shifting, they are a reflection of the difficulties and opportunities that the royal family must encounter. When viewed in this context, Charlotte's so-called royal bombshell was more than a brief act of rebellion. Rather, it was a glimpse into the evolving dynamics that would shape the future of the monarchy. The path that Camilla has taken as queen consort has been distinguished by a complex network of relationships within the royal family, some of which continue to be plagued with tension and issues that have not been successfully resolved. The fact that she was the second wife of King Charles III and that Princess Diana left behind an enduring legacy have been at the center of many of these problems. There is a long shadow cast on Camilla's job as a result of the fact that Diana continues to be a revered figure both within the royal family and among the general public. Her elevation to the position of queen consort has been viewed with suspicion, particularly by Prince William and Prince Harry. It is said that William's relationship with Camilla is formal and distant, despite the fact that it appears to be courteous on the surface. During the conversations that took place in relation to Charles's coronation, it is reported that William expressed his concerns and advocated for a more prominent commemoration of Diana's memory. Particularly since the publication of his novel, Spare, Prince Harry's relationship with Camilla has become even more tense than it ever was. Within the pages of the book, Harry referred to Camilla as the villain and accused her of utilizing the media in order to improve her public image, even if it meant doing so at the expense of other members of the family. In his statement, he claimed that Camilla's relationships with various newspapers had resulted in collateral damage for both him and Meghan Markle. Reportedly, Camilla has refuted these charges, yet the allegations have simply served to further exacerbate the split that exists between her and Harry. One further thing that has been a cause of conflict is the relationship that Camilla has with Catherine, Princess of Wales. Insiders have pointed out that there are conflicts that lie beneath the surface, despite the fact that the two ladies portray a united front at public appearances. According to reports, a noteworthy incident took place during a family gathering. Camilla chastised Catherine for her quiet approach to royal duties, arguing that she should be more outspoken when she is in public. It was reported that Catherine felt the statements to be excessively critical and unwanted, which resulted in a rift that ultimately required some time to reconcile. Both of these tense relationships provide light on the difficulties that Camilla must overcome in order to successfully negotiate her place within the royal family. In the course of her efforts to express her position, she has occasionally come into conflict with the opinions and priorities of other senior royals, which has resulted in a complicated and frequently delicate act of balancing. In spite of the fact that royal protocol conceals a significant portion of the tension, instances such as these provide a rare insight into the complex dynamics that shape the family. Certain individuals, most notably Catherine, Princess of Wales, have expressed their disagreement with Camilla's ability to exert influence on the decisions made by King Charles III. During the process of making preparations for Charles's coronation, there were allegations that surfaced stating that Camilla advocated for greater recognition of her own family members. This was perceived by some as putting William and Catherine in a secondary position. It was said that the Princess of Wales was irritated by this, as she interpreted it as a departure from royal custom and an attempt to give Camilla's family more importance than the role that the immediate royal family plays in the event. Some of the unforeseen conflicts that have arisen as a result of Camilla's influence and status inside the royal family include her relationship with Prince Andrew. According to reports, Andrew, who was already a controversial figure within the family, was opposed to Camilla being elevated to the position of queen consort, because he believed it would diminish the legacy of his late mother. There were rumors that he had privately voiced his opinion that Camilla was not suitable for the part. In contrast, Camilla has been equally critical of Andrew, considering him as a liability to the monarchy, particularly following his involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein incident. Camilla's criticism of Andrew has been consistent throughout the entire process. Even the relationship that Camilla has with Princess Anne has been fraught with difficulties there. Camilla's influence has been the subject of Anne's suspicion, notably in the context of arguments over the modernization of royal customs. According to reports, Anne ignored several of Camilla's recommendations, saying, "We've been doing this for centuries. It's not going to change now." Camilla's comments were apparently dismissed by Anne. Despite the fact that both of these women are committed to helping King Charles, the distance that has been formed between them as a result of Anne's resistance has been significant. Despite the fact that the coronation itself continued without any obvious disruptions, the events that surrounded Charlotte's covert rebellion had a significant impact on the course of events. Those who were present at Westminster Abbey saw a change in manner among the most important royal figures, which caused the atmosphere inside the Abbey to change. Camilla, who had entered with the self-assured demeanor of a freshly minted queen consort, seemed obviously rattled following Charlotte's poised yet defiant reaction. Camilla had entered with the confidence of a recent queen consort. The tension in her grin and the lack of confidence in her posture both increased. In spite of the fact that she presented a calm and collected appearance in public, those who were privy to the situation reported that her relations with Catherine and King Charles became exceptionally reserved throughout the remainder of the ceremony. The steady composure that Catherine displayed in the face of the reprimand, on the other hand, garnered her the silent admiration of those who were present. Charlotte was the sole focus of her attention, and she managed to quietly reassure her daughter without losing her composure. Additionally, this controlled response contributed to Catherine's emerging reputation as a balancing factor within the royal family, particularly during times of tension when Camilla's more aggressive approach was visible. This contrast in demeanor highlighted the changing dynamics within the monarchy, as well as the increasingly unique roles that each woman plays in determining the future of the monarchy. It would appear that Charlotte's acts during the coronation, despite the fact that they appeared to be not particularly noteworthy at the time, have in fact had a huge impact, not only within the royal family but also in the larger public discourse. In spite of the fact that her acts may be seen as the innocent behavior of a young child, they nevertheless conveyed a strong message about her understanding of the dynamics inside the family and her contribution to those dynamics. In the framework of royal tradition, Charlotte's quiet resistance in declining to bow to Camilla while acknowledging King Charles may be regarded as a subtle challenge to Camilla's authority. This would add an additional degree of difficulty to the relationships that are already fragile within the family. The activities of Charlotte, whether they were done knowingly or not, have brought to light long-standing conflicts, particularly between Camilla and the younger generation, which is represented by Catherine and her children. Given Charlotte's composed response, it is possible that she has accidentally become a symbol of the future of the monarchy, which is one that strikes a balance between tradition and originality, and is not afraid to assert itself. In this sense, her actions can be interpreted as a component of the larger changes that have taken place within the royal family, particularly in light of the fact that Catherine and her children are increasingly exemplifying the contemporary face of the monarchy. Regarding Camilla, her influence and status within the family have undoubtedly been subjected to a fresh round of examination, particularly in light of the incident that occurred during the coronation. At the same time as the episode highlighted the gap that existed between her and Catherine, it also brought to light more fundamental concerns surrounding her position within the royal family. A generational transition is shown by the tension that exists between Camilla and Charlotte, which contrasts with the more solid connection that exists between Catherine and Charlotte. This shift highlights the fact that respect within the monarchy may need to be earned rather than expected, even by the queen consort. Despite the fact that Charlotte is still young, the fact that she is self-assured and has the capacity to negotiate this complicated royal milieu gives rise to the possibility that she may play a significant part in the future of the monarchy. Because of her activities during the coronation, and the fact that she is gaining more and more prominence within the family, it is possible that she will become a pivotal role in the shifting power dynamics of the royal family. It is possible that Charlotte's rise as an influential and distinctive royal figure in her own right could be marked by the attention that is being paid to her, particularly in contrast to the problems that Camilla is having to exert her authority. In conclusion, although it is possible that Charlotte's acts were an unforeseen result, it is highly probable that they are a part of the larger process of restructuring the internal power structures of the monarchy. It is possible that she may become a significant character in the future of the royal family, and that she will have an impact on the direction that the family will take in ways that were not totally predicted. Her assurance and composure are rising,